yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach and welcome to my crochet channel, or welcome back. Today is our Friday Fun Day video and I decided to go ahead and do our next pattern for our Pamper Us self-care series. I've gotten a lot of email requests and messages asking me to get with it and get them done because I want to make all the patterns. And so this is our 6th pattern for our Pamper Us series. It is the Bumpy Washcloth. It measures approximately 7 by 7 inches. But if you go and look on that blog, which I have included that link down in the notes, there is all the information for sizing and multiples if you want to make it bigger. All right, I really like it this size. I think it's perfect for washing your face. And you can make this in your kitchen colors as well, because all those little bumps that are on there make it really nice for scrubbing the dishes. It's too pretty to use in the kitchen though, isn't it? It's a lot of fun. Now, again, you can find this crochet pattern on my blog, and I'll put that link down in the notes underneath this video. I've also included in that description box all the links to all the Pamper Me patterns that we have done so far. Again, this is pattern number 6. We have 2 bonus patterns in there as well, so that makes it 8. And then we have one more pattern we're going to do next week to finish up our Pamper Me crochet pattern series. To make your Pamper Us Bumpy Washcloth, we're using the same cottons that we've been using for our entire project. And of course, you can choose any cottons from your yarn stash. Now you're going to need about 1.5 ounces of your main color. And this is that potpourri ombre we've been using from Sugar and Cream. And then we're using this blue. It's a light blue. It's called Skyway. It's a Yarn Bee yarn called Cotton et Linen, and that's because it is a combination of cotton and linen. Good, strong, sturdy yarn. But again, both are medium weight number 4, and you can choose any cottons from your yarn stash that are medium weight number 4 yarns. We're going to be stitching with our H hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. You'll need your scissors, and then you'll need a needle just for weaving in your ends. This pattern is going to work up quick, fast, and it's a super fun pattern to work. So we're going to begin with our main color. We'll start with a slip knot, and we're going to chain 20 chains. Now I do recommend you do your initial chaining here just a little bit loose. I have chained 20 chains just a little bit loose. And now for row 1, we're going to stitch a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. We don't count the one on our hook, so 1, 2, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. And now we're going to stitch a single crochet in each of those chains all the way across our row. One single crochet in each of our chains across, and again we began in the second chain from the hook. We began in the second chain from the hook and stitched 1 single crochet in each of our stitches across, so we have 19 single crochets. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Our chain 1 does not count as a stitch, and so we will begin right in that first single crochet and stitch 1 single crochet in each of the stitches across. So again, we're stitching 1 single crochet in each of the single crochet stitches all the way across our row. So on row 2, we have 19 single crochets. We began in the first stitch and stitched 1 single crochet in each of our single crochet stitches. We're going to chain 1 and turn. And on this row, we're going to make some of those bumps. So we're going to single crochet in the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to put 2 loops on our hook, or 2 wraps. We're going to go in the next stitch and pull up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over and go through the next 2. You'll have an unfinished triple crochet. Now we're going to put 2 loops on again. We'll go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over and go through the second 2 loops. You'll have 2 unfinished triple crochets and then that beginning loop. You'll yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops. Okay, and so now we're going to stitch a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Now, if your loop if your bump wants to go to the back, just use your finger and push it forward. And that's what forms the bumps along our washcloth. They're called 2 triple clusters. You're using 2 triples to make a cluster or bump. All right, let's do that again. 2 wraps. Go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2. 2 wraps on your hook, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over and go through the second 2, yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops. Then we'll single crochet in the next 2. 1 and 2. So now we have 2 bumps. And again, push them to the front. Now I have 3 bumps. And we'll continue this across. At first it might be just a little bit clumsy, but once you get it down, you're going to go, oh, that's super easy. A little bit more yarn out here. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm making my 5th bump, and you'll notice we have 3 stitches at the end. And after your 5th bump, you're going to single crochet in those last 3 single crochets. All right, let's chain 1, and then we'll take a look at it. Make sure my bumps are in the front. All right, so we have 3 single crochets, then we have the 2 triple cluster and 2 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those. And then at the end, instead of having 2 single crochets, we have 3. That way we have 3 at the beginning and 3 at the end of our row. And that's how row 3 should look. I chained 1, and I'm going to turn my work. And now we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in each stitch across. Now it can be a little confusing with the bumps, so let me show you how to do that. We're going to single crochet in the first 3 stitches. And then you'll single crochet in that stitch where we pulled that cluster together. You want to make sure you only stitch one stitch in that cluster. Then you'll stitch 2 single crochets in the 2 single crochets, and then 1 single crochet in the cluster. All right. I know it can seem a little bit confusing, but if you look on the back here and follow those loops, it'll be super easy. Let's get a little bit more yarn out here. There we go. And when you single crochet across, you want to make sure you still only have 19 single crochets. On this row, it can be easy to add an extra stitch, and you don't want to do that. So you're stitching 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets, and then 1 single crochet in each of the clusters. And then of course we end with 3 single crochets. Okay, this is how it looks on the back. Chain 1 and turn that string out of the way just so you can see. And see how that makes those bumpy stitches pop right out? So we chained 1, we turned our work to the front, and now we're going to just stitch 1 single crochet in each of those single crochets across. We're not making bumpy stitches on this row, only single crochets. And again, make sure you have 19 single crochets. So we started with 2 rows of single crochet, then we did our single crochet with our bumps, and then 2 rows of single crochet. So that puts us at row 5. And so what you're going to do is you're going to continue to repeat row 3, row 4, and row 5. That's a bumpy row and 2 single crochet rows. And you're going to repeat that 5 more times so that you have 5 sets of a bumpy row and 2 single crochets. And that'll give you a total of 6 rows of your bumpies, and then again ending with 2 rows of single crochet. All right, so you're going to repeat row 3, row 4, and row 5 5 more times. So I have repeated row 3, row 4, and row 5 5 more times. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of my bumps with the 2 single crochet rows in between each one. And of course we ended with 2 single crochet rows. And that's how your washcloth should look at this point. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change colors. All right, so I'm going to take out that chain 1 that I added, pull that loop up just a little bit there, go ahead and cut my yarn, and now I'm going to bring in my blue. One thing I do want to remind you before we get any farther is when we did this, every other row of your bumps was on the back. Make sure you push with your finger all your bumps to the front of your washcloth, all right? All righty, so now we're going to bring in our blue. And what we're going to do is, of course, make a chain 1 to get us where we need to be. Snug everything down, and of course that'll have to be weaved in later. And now what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet around all 4 sides of our washcloth, making it nice and even, and we'll place 3 single crochets in each of our corners. So just a simple row of single crochets all the way around all 4 sides of our washcloth, and making sure that we place 3 single crochets in each of the 4 corners. And we do that so that it goes around the corner and lays nice and neat. I have evenly single crocheted around all 4 sides of my washcloth, placing 3 single crochets in each of the corners. Now we need to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch and then chain 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to skip the next stitch, slip stitch in the next, and chain 2. Skip the next, slip stitch in the next stitch, and chain 2. And this just gives us a nice little edge on our little washcloth. It's similar to what we've been doing, but not exactly the same. I didn't want the edge lace to be as big because if this is a bumpy washcloth that you're using maybe on your face, you don't want your fingers or whatever to get caught in the loops, and it still gives it a nice little edge. All right, so we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch, skip the next, chain 2, and then slip stitch in the next stitch. Chain 2, skip the next, slip stitch in the next. Chain 2, skip the next and slip stitch in the next. And we just keep going on around the sides, and it just gives it a nice little edge. So I completed my fun little trim, and I really love how it looks on this washcloth. It's a little bit bumpy to go along with our bumps, but it's not too loopy to get our fingers caught in it. All right, and so I've worked around this way. I'm going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch. There we go. We'll cut off our yarn and then pull that loop to the back. And then, of course, we have a little bit of weaving in to do, and we'll just grab that needle and weave all these ends in. So my ends are all tidied up, and here is my beautiful washcloth. I just love this washcloth. You can see all those bumps, and it's perfect for washing your face. And let me tell you a little secret about this washcloth. If you make it in your kitchen colors, you can use it to wash the dishes as well, because these bumps are great for scrubbing. But this is too pretty to use in the kitchen. I think I'm going to use it in the bathroom. All right, so that's our 6th pattern in our Pamper Me or Pamper Us self-care series. One more to go.